We have known at least two kinds of lockdown in the past few months. One of them, which everyone talks about, is the retreat at home. This retreat is something that I have felt like a privilege and that I have really enjoyed. What has kept me from being completely happy during my home retreat is another kind of confinement that hardly anyone talks about. I mean confinement within email, Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, Facebook, Jitsi, Hangouts, and other apps. This is the kind of confinement that I have really suffered. My problem with digital confinement is that it locks me in a suffocating place even smaller than my house, a place without depth or extension, totally flat, like the screen of the computer or the cell phone. In this place, I must renounce not only the outside world, the street and the public space, but my living space, my own house, my corner in the world. Here I must deprive myself even of my body and myself. It is true that I don't know what I am. I am just sure that I am not that character that I become inside the cell phone or the computer. That character is more understandable and predictable than me. He has clearer thoughts and feelings than mine. His words and expressions are less ambiguous. He has just happy and sad or angry faces. He receives a stimuli, processes the information, gives responses that correspond to the stimuli and the information it processes, and so on. He's a perfect homo psychologicus. He seems to confirm all the behavioral and cognitive psychology I studied at university. He's like one of those perfect human machines in undergraduate textbooks, while I always felt different, contradictory, more complicated, less clear. It is also because of this that I now suffer my confinement in the psychological character that I become inside the computer. By becoming him, I felt alienated. I confess that my feeling of alienation made me doubt myself. It made me think that maybe psychologists were right. Didn't the computer and cell phone reflect me as I am by presenting myself as a psychological character? If this character was not me, then who was it? Where did it come from? I did not understand anything. I only understood what has happening when I read Jan de Vos. What de Vos does in his book, The Digitalisation of Intersubjectivity, is to show us how psychology is at the origin of digital environments. It is not, as is often believed, that these environments have been designed based on who we are. It is rather that they have been organized and conditioned according to psychology, according to the psychologization of what we are, which explains that I see on Facebook a psychological character instead of me. Digital environments do not accurately reflect us, but reflect us in a psychological way. Our psychologization precedes and determines our digitalization, as Jan de Vos explains in his book. His book also warns us about one of the greatest dangers that lie in wait for us. This danger is the victory of psychologization through digitalization. It is the danger of completely absorbing ourselves in digital environments, confusing ourselves with our psychological characters, shooting ourselves in them, as has happened to many of us during lockdown due to the pandemic. Perhaps a day will come when there will only be psychological characters. They will not only be within digital environments, but outside of them, possessing our bodies. We will identify with them and imitate them to the point of being them. By believing that digital psychological characters reflect us, we will reflect them in everything we are and do. We will then be more understandable and predictable. We will understand each other better. Our faces will be as clear and simple as emoticons. We will be like the digital psychological characters. We will be as harmless as they are. We will be as dead as they are. This is the greatest danger lurking on the horizon that Jan de Vos unfold before our eyes.